Hello, this is Brian Pfeiffer, the owner of VegasVIPServices.com. All right, let's talk about tipping in Las Vegas. Now, I got 13 opportunities to tip. I know some of my European customers, it's a little bit out of your culture to tip. It's not typical in places in Europe. I've been there several times, and most people out there don't actually tip. But out here in Las Vegas, it is a common thing to tip, okay? In fact, I was just reading an article from this publication I get called The Hustle, and they just had this big thing on tipping, and they're talking about how people are getting kind of ticked off that everywhere you go they're asking for a tip these days. I go to Starbucks now, they're asking for a tip. I go to get my barbecue, and the lady just serves me. It just doesn't even bring it to the table. They just serve it right to the front, and they want a tip for that. So here and there I will tip. I'm not going to say that I don't tip on those kind of things. I do sometimes, but I don't typically tip like the full 20%. Maybe I'll tip like 10% or a buck or two just to be nice. And I know those people are working hard, and it's tough these days out here in this high inflation type of environment, and I want to help people out when I can. If I'm doing good, usually if I tip people, it all comes back to me tenfold. So just keep that in mind. I feel like the universe works in that kind of way. So number one, let's talk about what you would tip and kind of who you tip and kind of how much. The bellhop, okay, that's going to be the guy that brings your luggage up to your room, maybe helps get the luggage out of the limo or car or whatever. Usually, anywhere from like a couple of bucks to like $5 for that guy. If you got a bunch of luggage, maybe 10 or 15 or 20 bucks. If you're staying in one of the suites, you're probably going to expect a little bit more, but that's a pretty fair tip for like a bellhop. Casino host. For those of you that gamble a lot, you're probably going to have a casino host. Most of my big spenders do, and those guys can do a lot of things for you. They can get you free tickets to the fights. They can get you free tickets to just about any show in town, especially at their own properties, and they can give you free rooms when you come out here the next time. So generally, a hefty tip to a casino host, if they've done a lot for you, is very warranted. $100, $200, $300, even up to $500. It just depends on all the nice stuff they're able to do for you. Okay, so if you're lucky enough to get a casino host, plan on tipping them because they're going to do a lot for you. As far as your number three is going to be your cocktail servers, your bartenders, your bussers, and your waiters. Okay, all those people work pretty much off tips. That's how they make the majority of the living. Pretty much a lot of the venues nowadays do a standard auto gratuity, anywhere from 15 to 20%. So they're going to get their tips. The waitresses here will, tend to try to hustle a little bit more out of people. So just keep that in mind. If they did a really good job, an exceptional job, maybe another 5 to 10% is warranted. But at the end of the day, they're already getting their 15 or 20% automatically added to the bill. Okay, that's in most cases. Now, the Tao Group is one of the few venues that doesn't auto grat, and those are, I think they got 4 nightclubs or 5 nightclubs and 4 pools. You can tip just however you want. You want to tip 15%, 20%, 25%. That's not automatically added. But all the other venues like the Wynn properties, Zouk AU, Live, that's all automatically added. Typically 15% goes to the service, and then if you want to tip more, that's up to you. All right. Let's talk about number 4, the front desk. Those people can do a lot for you too, by the way. Sometimes you walk up with an Andrew Jackson or a Benjamin Franklin, and you ask kind of for a little bit of an upgrade on the room, and a lot of times they can put you in a nicer room for if they're not sold out or whatever for just that tip. Okay, maybe no extra money for the room, or they'll give you a really good discount on a suite or something. So just keep that in mind when you walk into the front desk if you're looking for an upgrade. A lot of times a cash handshake will do that for you with the front desk. Number 5, let's talk about housekeeping. I typically don't tip housekeeping unless I threw a party or something in the room and made a huge mess. Then I might leave a $20 out there just because I feel bad because I left the place a freaking disaster. But if I just messed up the bed and the towels, I think that's kind of standard in my opinion. If you want to leave a couple of bucks when you leave, like a $5 or $10 bill, I'm sure it's going to be appreciated. But in my opinion, housekeeping isn't all that necessary unless you're kind of real dirty with the room and they do a nice job keeping it clean for you for the weekend that you're here. Number 6 is your limo and party bus drivers. The limo drivers that are going to be driving you to the strip clubs, those guys work off tips, okay? They're going to be paid a little bit by the house, an hourly rate, and they're going to be expecting to get tips. So if we have a limo come pick you up from one of the strip clubs, through one of our strip club packages, make sure you keep a couple bucks handy for them. We also have limo service for a lot of the nightclubs, and I do include the tip in my price, but these guys always like extra. So just keep that in mind. You might want to have a $5 or $10 handy to tip the limo driver when you get out of the limo or party bus, etc. Number 7 is going to be your restroom attendants. Okay, these guys, some of these guys have lived in the restrooms or worked in the restrooms for as long as I've lived here in Las Vegas, 13 years or 14 years. I've seen the same guys in the restrooms. So these guys must do okay to have that job for so long. But back in the day, I used to tip dollars to these guys. Now I pretty much always tip 5s. Okay, that same dollar is worth about what $5 is nowadays. Okay, so if you tip $5, these guys are going to treat you pretty VIP. They're going to give you gum, and they're going to give you a clone, and they're going to really want to like take care of you every time you go in there and make you skip the line and stuff. So just keep that in mind. Tipping restroom attendants, that's a nice thing to do, and I would always do that. I see so many people that don't tip these guys, and I feel kind of bad for them, honestly. Number 8 is going to be your ride share, your taxis, and your shuttles. Very similar to the limo and party bus drivers. Most of the rideshare apps nowadays, Lyft has it where you can tip when they get out of the car. I think Uber has that now too. I don't have an Uber account. I just use Lyft. But, your taxis and whatnot, they're kind of expecting a 10 to 15 or 20% tip. You might want to always have a little bit of money handy, or just do it on the app or on the credit card, however they do it with the taxis these days. Haven't taken a taxi in Vegas in a long time. But, you plan on tipping a little bit for those guys. They're working hard, paying a lot for gas these days. Insurance is really high. They're probably squeezing a pretty slim margin doing what they're doing. So I would recommend tipping those guys. Number 9 is going to be the room service. Most of the room service in Las Vegas, they probably add the gratuity automatically. So you're going to be paying 15 or 20% or maybe 18% automatically. But just look at your bill when you get it. Make sure they are getting tipped. If they are, and you really like the job they did, they brought it up quickly, maybe tip them a little extra, but that's completely up to you. I would just always check because they're probably getting their tip already included in the bill. Let's talk about the table dealers. I do have several people that I'm actually pretty close to that are blackjack dealers. One of my guys on my team actually deals blackjack full time, and a girl I'm friends with deals blackjack full time. And they do work off tips. I mean, they get paid a pretty nice hourly rate, but they do appreciate tips. So if you're winning, typically I do tip. I'll drop a 5 or 10 or 20, depending on how much I won. If I'm losing, then I typically don't tip. So that's kind of the way it is. If they're doing a good job for you, tip. If not, it's up to you. Number 11, that's going to be your valet. Pretty much all these valet guys out here got totally screwed when the hotels went to pay for valet. Back in the day, it used to be free valet around here everywhere. You could pull up to any hotel, it's free. Okay, these guys used to kill it on tips because everybody was like, well, it's free, I'll give you $20. Well, now, as soon as they started charging like 20 or 25 or 50 or whatever it's costing these days, barely anybody tips anymore. Okay, they don't tip as much anyway. So these guys are struggling. They're making their same hourly rate, and they're not making nearly as much money in tips. So just keep that in mind. Everybody's working hard out here. It's 110 degrees out in the middle of summer, and your valet guys are probably running around outside dealing with the heat. So a little extra for them doesn't hurt. Number 12 is your VIP host. Okay, that's going to be a guy like me. I'm a VIP host for a lot of customers, and I do get quite a bit of tips. I don't ask for them, and I don't expect them, but at the same time, when I get them, I'm very appreciative. In some cases, I'll get nice tips, and maybe I'll do a little bit extra. Like I'll make sure that I pick up my customer in my Escalade the next time they're in town, or drop them off at the end of the night, or I'll stick around at the table and kind of work security for them to make sure their experience is better, or I'll go run around and pull girls for the table. So there's a lot of things that I will do if there's a tip involved, if I can, if I'm physically still able to be there, because obviously I feel like you guys are taking care of me. I want to take care of you. Okay, so that's typical for any VIP host in Las Vegas. You're probably going to find the same type of treatment. It's up to you if you want to tip. It's not required, but it's there's a little bit of advantages if you do. And one of the other things we could talk about is our packages and whatnot. We do come up with these really creative packages, and if you guys are interested in booking something in Las Vegas where you want to have an experience, where you're doing like a dinner, a nightclub, a pool party, brunch, men's show, strip club, we can kind of bundle it all up and make a nice package weekend for you. So you come out here and your whole weekend is just taken care of. And there's going to be people involved that you're going to see along the way, whether it be your limo drivers or your host. And if you want to tip them, everybody's appreciative of that. So make sure you hit me up if you have any questions about tipping, or you're interested in booking one of our packages or booking with me for your Vegas vacation. My number is 773-459-8133. That's my cell phone. I do own a hotel booking company as well, and on the link below, you're going to find my websites now have basically my wholesale rates with just my cost over wholesale rates. So my idea with that is to get people into my system. Hopefully you guys get a great deal on a hotel room, and then maybe you book some other stuff with me. Okay, so make sure you go check that out on any one of my 5 websites. The hotels should be live very shortly here, and I'll have some great rates up there for you guys, and I'm looking forward to working with you out here in Las Vegas. I'm Brian Pfeiffer. Let's talk soon. Bye.